De'Von Achane last season, 103 rush attempts, 800 yards, 8 touchdowns, 27 receptions on 37 targets, 197 yards through the air, and 3 touchdowns through the air. Thoughts on De'Von Achane?
He did it all in 11 games. And I think that's why he is where he is on this, right? Is that all of that was done in 11 games. And realistically, all of his touchdowns were scored in 5 or 6 games. Um, Burst onto the scene when Miami took the Broncos out to the woodshed there and put up a 70 spot on them, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns there. Backed it up, but then it was real tough sledding for some of these games. At Las Vegas, 1 carry, 1 yard. Got hurt in that game and then doesn't appear again for another couple of weeks. Goes 17 for 73 against Washington, but the next week, 7 for 47. That 17 for 73 also included 2 touchdowns against Washington, but then 7 for 47, 9 for 32, 7 for 24. Like, that's a really tough stretch getting in there. And then he has another 100-yard game against Baltimore when he was a lone bright spot there. So I get the infatuation. I get the ability, right? Everybody, I think Achane is not being drafted for what he is, but for what he could be.
Achane is lightning in a bottle. Mm-hmm. And that's part of the reason you're drafting him, right? Is the big play capability. The 7.7 yards per carry that he had last year is not going to be duplicated, in my opinion. Now, I still think with his big playability, you could see him over 5, which is still an astronomical number in today's NFL. I also think that if he's able to stay healthy, because really those 11 games, it was really he did all that in 9. He's a big best ball guy for me. I don't know that I love it in season long per se, but I'm not opposed to it. I understand why people like him. I just think we need to temper expectations just a little bit.
That is the prudent advice here, is to temper the expectations with it. This is a guy that certainly has a ton of upside to it, but also has a ton of risk to it as well, right? And that's where you're kind of going out there and spending a second round pick with is, this is a guy that could easily fall outside of running back 1 territory, or could be a top 2, top 3 running back when it's, number 2, number 3 overall at the end of the season, right? Like, there's a much bigger range for him on season long outcome than the previous 2 guys we've talked about, right? Like Derrick Henry, Travis Etienne, you're probably going to get somewhere around, an RB 7 to 10 type of finish with those guys. Like, that's probably about where you'll be. De'Von Achane, you could get anywhere from a running back 2 to running back 15, 16, playing a full season there, right? Like, there's a much bigger avenue and a much bigger risk profile here